sets. How many is in a set again? About 30 or so. 1,000 sets of the Encyclopedia Britannica in a one-celled organism. So, is that simple? No, of course not. Right? I mean, that's like saying, you know what? If you just found a book right on the ground, did it evolve from the dirt? Right? I mean, it must have. But you see how ridiculous this is.
Come on.
So, again, if we understand, take out the garbage, right, has got to be intelligent, then how can we not think that an amoeba that is equivalent to 1,000 encyclopedias could not be from intelligence? And this is just an amoeba. I haven't even broken down the human body.
Breaking down, huh? Oh, break down. Break down, bro.
100 trillion cells.
Come on.
The human being. Right? I mean, that's one, how many? 100 trillion cells. By accident. We only have time for the amoeba.
Thanks, bro.
So, once we accept that there's no such thing as simple life, then we have to realize that, life does not consist merely of chemicals. Because if you could just make life from chemicals, then all you have to do is just get all the chemicals of life in a test tube, right, and produce life. Have you guys ever heard of there's this whole discredited Urey-Miller experiment? Basically, the whole issue here, guys, is that scientists have not even been able to combine chemicals in a test tube to make a DNA molecule. So if they can't even make a DNA molecule, how can they make life? Okay? But then the thing on top of that is, well then, hold on a second here. Those scientists are all MIT, Harvard educated. So now you're using intelligence to create life, which defeats the whole purpose. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These guys are like, all right, well, we're going to try to create life. But they're all gone to like grad school for the past 15 years. And they still can't do it. They can't even make DNA. Right? Cannot do it. And even if they could do it, what would that mean?
That intelligence.
You just prove that you need intelligence to make life.
There
Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Guys, it's unbelievable. They can't do it. Well, what's interesting here is that when we look at number 2 here, the whole investigating the origin of first life, kind of like, a lot of times people say, well, Andrew, we've talked about a lot of different statistics, the probability of this happening, 1 times whatever to the zillion power. It's ridiculous, right? It's 0. It's just 0. It's about a million times, but it's still 0. So it's understanding that no human being, again, has observed the origin of first life. So when you talk to someone who's a Darwinist or someone who believes that there's no God, you got to go there because they want to go after life has begun to their whole concept of macroevolution. And remember, what's the difference between macro and microevolution?
Macroevolution.
Right? Change within the species, microevolution. There's evidence for that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Black, white, Asian, Latino, we get it. Okay? You live in brighter culture, a hotter culture, you're going to get darker.
Yeah.
Right? Colder culture, you'll be lighter. Amen, my brother. 100% for the darker brothers. So, right? And then you have, also in that environment, your nostrils will get larger. Or your nostrils will get smaller, whatever it is. We are a product of our environment, of microevolution. That makes sense. But what is the difference between micro and macroevolution? What's macroevolution?
Change from one species to an entire.
Like a fish to a dog.
Right, from the gabagoo to the zoo. That's what it is, right? It's saying that basically from the amoeba, right, came what? The horse or the amphibian. Remember I used to give the whole example of from the fish, one day inspired. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to see the sun. I see this bright light comes up. Can't breathe, right? Got gills, got to develop lungs. Okay, now he can breathe, right? Okay. Oh, there's a beach. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm stuck. I don't have any legs. Oh, I gotta go back. Okay, right? No. So really the issue here is that since nobody observed the origin of the first life, creationists and evolutionists, since neither was there, we've got to observe scientific principles to help us, right? The question is, what principles can we use to help us determine what caused that first life? And the same principles that we use comes from the criminal justice system, which is the whole forensic principles. That's why when I did the whole PowerPoint on does God exist or are you an accident, I was like a lawyer, and I was talking to you, the jury. That's what we need to present it to people. Because you weren't there.
Right.
Neither were they. So the question is, what has more reasonable evidence here? So it is a forensic question. Like, I love forensics.
Yes.
Honestly, like if I could, work for the, if in another life, I love ministry. So if in another life, though, I could work as a psychologist for the FBI or something, like criminal minds type stuff. I carry a gun and a badge. But it's interesting because this stuff is deep. I mean, the issue here is that what does forensic principles do? They try to piece together evidence like detectives piecing together a crime, because nobody was there. So they have to go and say, okay, based on this, I got to piece together what happened here. And that's what we're trying to do. We're using forensic principles to figure out how, based upon the cosmology, based upon the design, based on all these different things, what is the most reasonable explanation here? And when you really break it down, the scientists are not the most reasonable explanation. And that's the sad thing about it. So, one of the key principles here is this principle called the principle of uniformity. That's just a big word that means really something very simple. Causes in the past are the causes we observe today. So, for example, things that happened back then are probably, if someone gets hit by a car 30 years ago and gets hurt, then someone gets hit by a car today, probably going to get hurt too. Okay? But the issue is that, for example, if we look at something like the Grand Canyon, right? It's caused by natural processes, right? The erosion, the water erosion that allowed that to happen. Anyone seen the Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's really, really nice. Okay. But would you say that's intelligent or that's natural?
It's natural.
Natural? Or intelligent? Grand Canyon. Natural, right? What about Mount Rushmore?
Intelligent.
What? Well, how can you speak so quickly? How can you speak so quickly and say that it's intelligent? Why?
I'm taking a stone sculpture class.
Huh?
I'm taking a stone sculpture.
You're taking a stone sculpture class?
I am.
There's no way in Jesus they could have made that. Right, by natural. Right, exactly. I mean, you look at the faces on Mount Rushmore. I'm like blown away. I mean, you've seen Mount Rushmore, right?
Oh, the picture.
I'm sorry. You've seen the pictures of Mount Rushmore.
You haven't been there.
You guys all see here? Here's the issue. Mount Rushmore is one of the most famous pictures, okay? And you have, like, Abraham Lincoln's face in it, George Washington. Let me see here.
Back to the
I
book.
got a picture in here somewhere.
The four faces.
Jackson, Lincoln, Washington.
I gotta have a picture. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
I don't know.
This, can you see this from this far? Obama is not part of Mount Rushmore. In the future, who knows? But you see, they got his face.
Who is it again?
Okay, so you have if I remember this right, you have George Washington. You have Theodore Roosevelt. Very good.
Oh, Rosie.
Melissa Johnson.
You have Abraham Lincoln. And then the second guy, I'm forgetting who he is.
It's not Jackson.
Thomas Jefferson? Yeah, I think it's Thomas Jefferson. So it's Washington, Jefferson. And I was always surprised Teddy Roosevelt made it up there, man. The same guy who said that a thorough knowledge of the Bible is worth more than a college education. He made it up there too. Oh, there you go. Come on.
That was an accident.
Like banana. This too is an accident, by the way. Right? This is Mount Rushmore.
I thought it was.
You
Dave said he's an accident.
Yeah, that's an accident.
The second guy, I'm pretty sure that's Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, $10 Alexander Hamilton.
So I can give them
Hamilton.
Take a Jefferson. I know the one
So as we close out here, guys, looking at that picture versus looking at somewhere else, or like what was it?
Where the crowd are going crazy.
The Grand
They're talking,
Canyon,
they just say,
right? We understand it was caused by an intelligent being, by a sculptor, right, guys?
It's a riot.
So, I guess the question becomes is, why do you think, besides the fact that they don't want to, right? Why do you think that, God is, it's so hard for people to accept God. It's so hard for people to accept an intelligent design. Let's talk about this a little bit, because these are the questions that you're going to have to be thinking about when you talk to people, right? So why is this so hard for people?
To what?
To accept that there's a God. Yeah. Sorry? Emotion. You might be remembering something I put up here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to remind you guys. I'm trying to remind you. Okay, yes. It was Jessica. Yes. Come on.
I just feel like people don't live. They have temptations, and they don't want to give those up. Like if you love something, being a Christian, you really can't do that. You don't want to do that. You want to be a Christian to give up what they love and it's bad.
Which means they like their sin.
Yeah.
They like the sex. As long as it doesn't give them an STD. They like the person. Right?
Come on.
They like the attention. Let's talk about it, guys. What else do people like?
Smoking weed.
People like smoking weed. People, what's the funny thing? People like being right.
Yeah.
That right?
Like what?
Because they're prideful. Right? And who here is prideful?
It's not